So, oops. I only use one effect which is just reverb. So this is without it, and then this has the reverb on it. Okay. Breathe in, breathe out, be here right now. 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 Breathe in, breathe out, be here right now.
Hello, friends, and welcome to another episode of Mothership Gear. Today, we're looking at the Boss RC-505 loop station, and I am your host, Spencer Alfonso. I'm the co-owner and creative director at Ildefonso, and this channel is our channel. We're a full-service sync house and music agency, and on this show, we invite musicians to hang out at our studio and talk about their favorite or most unique pieces of gear. So let me introduce you to our esteemed guest, Pearl Bots, artist and singer-songwriter. Pearl, thank you so much for being here. How are you doing today?
Thanks for having me. I'm doing well. Thank you.
Good. So I saw you post on Instagram this looper, and I was like, hey, can you come on and do an episode about that? Because you had mentioned when you got here that you've been wanting to get a looper for a while, right? And I feel like they're like really good tools for creativity live and all that. What was your main inspiration behind getting this piece of gear, and how did you decide to get this specific one?
Well, it really starts in childhood. I mean, the first time I ever saw somebody do any kind of vocal looping was Imogen Heap with that iconic video of her. I think she was performing Just For Now. And when I saw that, I don't remember how old I was, but I had never seen somebody just create so many different textures with just their voice. And I think I was just starting to get into music and singing at the time. And that always just stuck with me as something really inspiring. But I didn't know. I don't think I had any money. I didn't know how to acquire gear. I think I was taking piano lessons. I don't know. But, I was always in choir, which is basically vocal looping with 50 other people. So I think having that choir background and being in music education, being a choir director myself right out of college, just stacking harmonies was just always something that interested me in general. And so I had kind of a more primitive version of this that my guitar player friend just gave me and I used, but it was kind of clunky and difficult to get the timing right. I did use it, but I saw Ariana Grande use this in her live Positions album performance. And I think the song that she did was Positions, and I looked up what she used. And also I saw Haley Knox, who I saw on TikTok, use this specific piece of equipment. And I decided to look it up and get it.
Yeah. So the inspiration is that you grew up in choral, but it's also becoming kind of like it doesn't just do the choral, it kind of adds some kind of intrigue to the performance. Have you tried it live yet, or are you still getting the hang of it at your house practicing? Where are you at on that stage?
I did recently perform live with it. I performed my song Breathe that I wrote with Mary, who is St. Eveline. And I just performed that at a show, and people really loved it. I think people were really receptive to it. It was a really basic setup, so I think it kind of added a lot to the performance. So yeah.
Were you running an instrument through it as well, or were you just doing the whole performance a cappella?
I was playing keys, and my friend was also playing guitar.
So did you guys then did you guys give a signal for your keys and your vocal through the main PA? And then did you have two microphones or one microphone, like one microphone, just the looper, and that served as your main source for your vocal?
Yeah, I had two microphones. Yeah, one was the looping microphone, and then one was the performance microphone.
Sick. Mm-hmm. So what does it take for you to figure out how to incorporate it into your workflow? So take Breathe, for example. What was your arrangement like? And what is the thought process when you're preparing a song? Are you trying to reinvent the arrangement, or are you relying on the looper through the whole song, or is it just like an intro thing? Like, what was the implementation of it?
Well, I do a lot of experimenting just on my own. I try lots of different harmonies, stacking them in different kinds of ways, even doing beatboxing, which I'm not a beatboxer, but I kind of, see if maybe I can incorporate that into it. There's some different effects where you can like drop your voice an octave. So, just playing around with that, adding different effects. You could do a lot. Like you could put different EQs on it. There's a lot of different functions, and then since there's 5 different loop stations that you can have, 505 loop station, I can add like my own voice as pads, even, and then just have like the main vocal with the lyrics on another one. So I just kind of, honestly, I mess around for hours just because it's fun to me. I'm my own choir. So I like to do that. And then I think about, okay, people aren't going to want to sit through like a 10-minute loop like I do on my own. So what's the attention span of the crowd that I'm going to be performing for, and what's going to be kind of the most effective and impressive, I guess. And then, for that performance, I started off with the loop just to kind of like grab attention, and then I played keys and then sang the verse and then brought the loop back in at the end.
That's dope. Yeah, I totally know what you're talking about with like loop etiquette, where like you go to a concert and you're like, oh, damn, he's going to play with his loop effects thing all show. That's the whole thing. Yeah. So then in your mind, what makes a good loop performance versus a less than ideal kind of too loop heavy?
Well, I think if you're a multi-instrumentalist, the loop can go on for longer because it's like, oh, you're doing, a bass line, and then you're doing an acoustic guitar, and then you're doing vocals. Like, I think with that, you can go for a while. But since I was just looping vocals because that's what I'm most confident in and what I'm most practiced in, I feel like maybe 3-part, 4-part harmony at most. I haven't done a lot of other performances that have more. Maybe people would be down, but that's just kind of my instinct. I kind of just think of my own attention span. Like, how long would I want to be listening to this for? Because at some point it just becomes like a wash. So if I wanted to add a ton of textures, I probably would make a second loop, like pre-make it, and then like slide it in. Because there's faders on here, so you could have them at different levels. So yeah, that's probably what I would do.
Dope. I love that. That's great insight. So yeah, in case you're looking at getting one of these, I took some of the details off of their website. They say that it has 32-bit ADDA conversion and 32-bit floating point processing, 49 input effects for processing incoming signals, 53 track effects for manipulating looped phrases, dual XLR mic inputs with phantom power for condenser mics, stereo line inputs, and 3 stereo line output pairs, 5 stereo phrase tracks, 5 different loops simultaneously, mix and manipulate effects on the fly. So do you want to show us just kind of like how you use it, like with Breathe maybe? And
sure.
We'll kind of watch you do your thing.
Yeah, so, oops. only use one effect which is just reverb. So this is without it, and then this has the reverb on it. Okay. Breathe in, breathe out, be here right now. 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 Breathe in, breathe out, be here right now.
That's sick.
Yeah.
So then when the verse comes in, is that when your band comes in, and then do you mute it? And so you kind of use it as a hook into the song?
With the last performance that I did, I kept the loop going, the band came in, and then I faded it out.
Oh, sick.
And then I brought it back in at the end.
Nice.
So, yeah.
Cool. Well, what other elements of the mixer, or I guess it's like a loop station with a mixer, what other elements do you see yourself gravitating towards in the future? Like, is there any other part of it that you're hoping to tap more into?
I think I want to incorporate playing around with looping instruments for sure. I haven't connected like my keyboard to it, but I think that could be a really cool thing to do, as well as doing kind of almost more like operatic singing, because like you can do a lot with the different effects to make it just have more textures. And then there's something else I wanted to say. What else? Oh, they also have like a reverse feature, so you can kind of do, I don't know, just some more experimental things like that, either with guitar or with my voice, as well as just like I kind of want to dial in the EQ. Like right now I'm just kind of going with like the regular settings, but I know there's a lot you can play with, like really getting the right tone and like the right frequencies and everything. So yeah, I think that's what I'd want to do in the future.
That's awesome. Yeah. Cool. So then do you think that do you think you're going to see more of this specific loop station like in musicians' households, or are you still kind of like the main person that has one? Like, because I kind of feel like, is this a newer thing, like this specific model? Or because like once I saw you with it, I started to see other people with it. I was like, is this thing gonna like blow up, like and get really popular?
Honestly, I'm not sure. I don't know how long this specific model has existed. To be honest, especially as a vocalist, it's kind of difficult to loop, especially live loop, because you have to be so in tune with yourself and you have to be in tune with the instruments. So when I'm playing a song, I had like a what is it called? A sustained note going so that I could keep the key in mind, because when you add the instruments, you have to also be in tune with that. You have to be in tune timing wise. So I could see a lot of people just being like, that's just too much effort for me, and I'll just play a backtrack. I feel like that's why it hasn't been as popular as it is, because there's kind of a learning curve and you have to like have a certain level of skill that you have to develop, especially as a vocalist. So I'm not sure. I think people find it impressive and it's worth learning if it's exciting and fun. But yeah, I also think that, most people just don't know it exists. So maybe more popularity.
Yeah.
I'm not sure.
Do you think that you'll be using this in your content, like on Instagram? Will this be kind of a way to expose people to new arrangements of your songs? Like, are you going to use it as a hook into your discography by like arranging your songs, or even I think I've seen you do covers with it. Is that kind of a part of your content pipeline?
I just posted my first piece of content with the looper, and I felt like it was received really well. I didn't edit it at all. I just put my phone up on a tripod. It's literally the sound that was coming out from my PA into my phone. So the sound wasn't great, and still people really liked it. So I definitely want to incorporate it more. And also, as somebody who likes to perform but doesn't necessarily want to have like a full band the entire time, I think it would be good for me as an artist to just have that extra layer when I'm performing by myself, besides just me and a guitar. So yeah, definitely going to do more of arranging my own songs, doing other covers, and like mastering this piece of gear and using it live, using it in my content. I think it'll be, I just think it's fun. Yeah.
Sweet. Well, where can people find you if they want to listen to your music or follow you on Instagram or Threads?
You can find me at Pearl, like the gemstone, Bots, B as in boy, O-T-T-S. Pearlbots everywhere. Pearlbots TikTok, on Instagram. My Spotify's Pearlbots. My email is pearlbots@gmail.com. Everything's Pearlbots.
Sick. That's amazing that you got to your name first on all socials. Is there any other Pearlbots?
I think the last time I looked, there was 2 other people in the United States and they were like 90. So
oh shit.
I think I just got lucky with the name.
That's amazing. That's great SEO.
Yeah.
Sweet. All right. Well, thank you all for watching this episode on the Boss RC-505 looper. And thank you again, Pearl, for hanging with us. And we will see all of you guys next time. Bye.